Hey kids, it's me, Tony Homeperm, Indragnito once again. You know this is the only way I can go to Ulta without, the hundreds of fans trampling me in the store. So, anyway, speaking of Ulta, I was just there this past Sunday because I decided I had to get the Colourpop Gather Round Sisters palette from their new Hocus Pocus collection. I wasn't going to get it. I said, oh, it's the same old Colourpop palette. Do I really need it? Don't read me, Ashley Jade. No, of course I didn't need it, but I just was so taken by the packaging. So of course, I saw it and I run up and I grab the palette, because I have to have this Gather Round Sisters palette. And oh, wait a second, this isn't the Gather Round Sister. This is the Gather Round Sisters palette. This is the All I See Is Magic palette. But wait a second. Let's take a look here. Look at that color story. What do we have here in the Colourpop? Do mine eyes deceive me? Separated at birth, perhaps? Yeah, I happened to do a little review of my Halloween palettes the other day, and when I was going through things, and I pulled out this Colourpop All I See Is Magic palette, I realized there were some similarities. I know what you're going to say. Colourpop? Colourpop duping themselves with their own palette?
Not true. That's impossible.
So anyway, yeah, I realized that there is a very similar color story going on here, and I said, yes, things that make you go, So I said, I need to see what's going on. So I swatched both palettes side by side, and I'm going to put that picture up on the screen for all of you to see right now. And as you can see in this picture, there is a very, very similar color story going on. Now, I'm not saying that it's the exact same palette, just repackaged. There's obviously some differences. However, the overall color story of these two palettes, when you look at them side by side and swatch them out, the color story is so similar. I don't know how much closer you could get. Some of the colors are so close, it's uncanny. Okay, now I'm going to show you some close-up swatches of some of the colors that I felt were just so very, very close. Maybe some slight differences, but definitely when you were to put them on your eyelid, I don't think you would really notice any difference. Now the first one is Tis Firm from the Gather Round Sisters palette, compared to Pitter Patter from the All I See Is Magic palette. And you can see they're both a coppery kind of color, so very, very close. I think Tis Firm is just slightly more orange than Pitter Patter, but very, very close nonetheless. Next is Thackeray Binks, which is kind of a more pinky gold bronze kind of color, and I have that next to Something Special. Now, Something Special looks a little bit more bronze than Thackeray Binks, at least in the photo, but when you see them next to each other in real life, they are extremely, extremely close. And I don't think you would see a difference on the eye. Okay, the next one is Yabos. Gotta love that word. Yabos from the Gather Round Sisters palette compared to Twinkle Toes from the All I See Is Magic palette. And I can't see a difference between these two. I cannot see a difference between these two colors. It's got to be the exact same color. It really has to be. Certainly, if there's any sort of difference whatsoever, once it's on the eye, you would never know. If one was on the left and one was on the right eye, you would never know in a million years that they weren't from the same exact pan. Okay, next is Goodbye Cruel World, swatched next to Never Never from the All I See Is Magic palette. And again, you can see it's sort of a dark bronzy, brownish, greenish kind of a tone. If you had them on the eye, one on one side, one on the other, you're not going to see any difference between these two colors. Sorry. Sorry, Colourpop. They're the same. Next is Wench, which is sort of a very light white champagne-y gold color. Next to Now and Zen from the All I See Is Magic palette. And the funny thing is, in the pan, they don't look anything really alike. They look very different. However, when you swatch them out, they're very, very similar. And I really do think on the eye, you would not see a difference between the two. Okay, then we have Brew Potion, which I believe that's a glitter formula in the Gather Round Sisters palette. And I have that next to Save It for Later from the All I See Is Magic palette. Granted, Brew Potion is a glitter formula, so there are those little specks of glitter, and Save It for Later is just a shimmer. But I think it's more telling that both of these palettes only have one gold in the color story, which says to me that there being just one gold in each really solidifies my hypothesis that the color stories are almost exactly the same, really, when you think about it. It's only scientific. But yes, different formulas, but the golds, the tone of the golds are very, very close. I don't like using glitter formulas though anyway, so I probably won't use that color. Now, this next one, Bewitched from the Gather Round Sisters palette. There really wasn't anything specifically like it in the All I See Is Magic palette. And like I said, I didn't say they were the same exact palette, just repackaged or anything like that. However, Bewitched is kind of a dark sagey green kind of a color, and there is no dark sagey green in the All I See Is Magic palette. But what I was able to do was take Twinkle Toes and Wishful Thinking and combine them, and it's a very, very close color to Bewitched. Although Twinkle Toes and Wishful Thinking are a satin finish, Bewitched is a matte, but I'm really just trying to show you here that it's really the color story that is nearly identical. And obviously it is, because you can take two colors from All I See Is Magic and you get, a very similar tone to the Gather Round Sisters palette. So, it's not my fault that I was able to discover this. I'm sorry. Sorry. Don't read me, Ashley Jade. Okay, now Dead Man's Toe, which is a purpley kind of tone. I swatched that on the left, and then next to that I have Tinseltown from the All I See Is Magic palette, and then right next to Tinseltown we have Night of Frolic from the Gather Round Sisters palette. So honestly, all three of these colors are very similar. I don't think there's that much difference between Dead Man's Toe and Night of Frolic. And Tinseltown from the All I See Is Magic palette is a very close dupe to both of those colors. And actually, all three of them are just so similar. I'm kind of wondering why Colourpop did that with Night of Frolic and Dead Man's Toe, having them both in the palette. I mean, they look very different in the pan, but when you swatch them out, there's not that much difference. And I dare to say that when you were to use them on the eye and blend them out, I don't know how much difference you're really going to see with them. So, what can I say? Those are my thoughts on these two palettes. So, Gather Round Sisters here. All I See Is Magic here. As I said, it's not that I think Colourpop took this discontinued palette and just, repackaged it to, become the Gather Round Sisters palette. I'm not saying that by any means. There are obviously some differences. However, the color story of both of these palettes is just so similar. It's just so close. I think there was another palette that's out now from Colourpop, the Garden Variety palette. I'm not sure what the name is. I don't have that one. It did not interest me whatsoever. And some people are saying, well, it's the Gather Round Sisters palette is very similar to that one, but then some people are saying, oh no, they're not that similar. However, I do think that the All I See Is Magic palette is very similar to this Gather Round Sisters palette. And, the proof is in the pudding. If you look at the swatches that I've put up on the screen, you can see the overall color story is very, very similar. Does that mean I hate the palette? No, it doesn't mean I hate the palette. It just, it was a little disappointing though when I pulled this out and started swatching everything side by side, and to realize that this color story is so similar to this one, and it's from the same company. It's not like it's a dupe from another company. It seems to me that they duped themselves. Did they dupe us too? I don't know. No, not really. I mean, it's not an expensive palette, and I do love the packaging, so it's not like I'm going to declutter it or anything like that. I've never decluttered a palette in my life, and probably never will. But what can I say? It was just a little disappointing, but this too shall pass. If you know of a palette that you think is similar to Gather Round Sisters palette, or might be a dupe for it, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm very interested to know what everyone thinks. Thanks again for dropping by my channel. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, then please click the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified the next time one of my videos comes out. So I want you all to have a very happy Halloween this season. Stay safe, and until the next time, bye-bye.